Welcome back to another video. Today we have Obstagoon Giratina Trevenant. Just taking a glance at it, it is pretty weak to Charmers, but maybe we can wiggle out of those situations. But kind of an ABB team, good against fighters. That's the way I see it. Here we're just trying to draw out anything that can take out the Obstagoon, and we actually draw out a Jellicent. So the Jellicent is going to be weak to the Obstagoon, and the Giratina is generally a good safe switch here. Let's see how this plays out. We do show the first one. Usually it's the Shadow Ball, so we take advantage of that prediction there. Here we're going to be throwing the Shadow Sneak. We haven't revealed that we had Shadow Sneak until then, so this is a good little start here. Right there, we should have gone for the extra, not CMP right there. We should have gone for the extra fast move, but they end up trying to bait us, and it ended up being okay. We undercharged this to get maybe one or two Shadow Claws. Okay, we get one extra Shadow Claw there, so it didn't end up being that too big of a deal. But if I wanted to be more ideal, I should have went for the extra fast one there. Anyways, we're going to keep going, and we're going to throw Dragon Claw here versus this Swampert pretty much the whole time. Here, we're going to force him to at least throw energy. It could be a bait, it could be the Earthquake. They end up going for Earthquake to KO the Giratina, makes sense. We're going to come in with our Trevenant here. The Trevenant is counter swap to the opposing Tentacruel. So the only thing we really have to worry about against this Tentacruel so far is a potential Sludge Wave. Let's see if they're gonna throw the Sludge Wave. And going back to this team, it ended up being triple water team, and kind of weak to the Trevenant situation in the front and against the Jellicent here. So lucky for us, we do have a Jellicent here sitting in the back, and we do switch out right there after they threw that Acid Spray bait, force all the energy out of this Tentacruel. We do get a debuff right here. We are able to get to another Nice Slash, which is great. This Nice Slash will get a shield out of them, which is really good for us. Here they counter swap. We get to the next Nice Slash before they get to another move. This is debuff, so I don't see them shielding this. That makes sense. And then now they're building a bunch of energy, but we're forcing them to use energy here because we are getting close to another Nice Slash. So this has to be a Hydro, perfect. And then here we're thinking about, okay, we're in a really good situation here. We don't want to be using any energy unnecessarily, so we're going to be pretty much farming down. They end up having Earthquake, which is not effective, which is great for us. And then here we're just going to sneak in that fast move right there, which allows us to have double Seed Bombs, and they go for the Acid Spray right there, makes sense. And then here we're going to be able to go back-to-back Seed Bombs right there. Even though they have one shield, this is GG's. So even though it was like a kind of a neutral start, we did switch out to kind of draw out anything that would be back for our backline. Also, I guess opposing Obstagoons in our backline is also really bad. So that is the initial thoughts on this. Is gotta watch out for fairy types, and then gotta watch out for Obstagoon safe switches. Kind of. If you don't pay attention, you could unnecessarily switch out of a Obstagoon versus Obstagoon scenario. But yeah, Obstagoon is really good against our backline here. Here we're just gonna switch out. We're gonna see if we can draw out anything. Oh, a little bit of a lag here. Okay. So they end up bringing out their Registeel. Makes sense. We're gonna be throwing in a whole bunch of Shadow Snakes here. Unfortunate for them, we do not have the Ancient Power version. We do have Shadow Claw with Shadow Snake, which is the ideal moveset versus this Reggie. So this matchup here is gonna turn out a little bit better for us than normal. And plus, this Reggie did not want to see our Obstagoon in the back, so they go for the Zap Cannon potential debuff. We actually escape that. We actually get lucky here. We don't get the debuff, so these Shadow Snakes are going to be doing full damage. And then these Shadow Claws, these fast move Shadow Claws are adding up. because we didn't get that debuff right there, we're still pretty healthy, and we're doing significantly more damage than the opposing Registeel here. Okay, now we don't get to avoid the other attack ball here. We finally get the debuff, but not before we do a huge chunk of damage to this Regi. We're paying close attention to how much damage these Shadow Snakes are actually doing. This next Zap Cannon here shouldn't take us out. Okay, barely didn't take out. We're gonna go for this Shadow Sneak immediately here. You can see how close this matchup is if the shield. You can see how close this matchup would be if this Registeel got that debuff at the very start. So they decided to maintain alignment, and we're just trying to figure out what we want to do here. I think we decided to shield. No, we don't shield here because potential debuff. Okay, so we're getting lucky with the debuff potential. So far, this team that we're seeing against our opponent, it has a bunch of debuff potentials, and we've been evading at least the very first one. Here is the CMP tie. We're going to throw our next Night Slash here. They're still staying in, which is interesting. At this point, could they have a Trevenant in the back? Could they have... it's kind of a toss-up of what they have right here. So we're going to anticipate the switch. Oh, they end up having the Swampert, so really bad for them that Swampert was lurking in the back for them because we had Trevenant. So I guess that team kind of makes sense, right? You got Cresselia kind of weak to the Regis, and so you have Swampert protecting it, and then you have your opposing Regi. Okay, makes sense. But yeah, that's a pretty tanky team right there. They had the Cresselia, big tank in Ultra League, plus the Registeel. I couldn't tell if that Registeel was Exo or not. So here, we're going to be able to switch out here to see if there's anything in the back that is weak to this Obstagoon. So far, they're deciding to stay in, which bodes well for us. We're thinking about shielding here. Okay, we do shield here, and it's the correct shield because we get the Earthquake shield. Here, we're just gonna throw in on random timing. Now we're really puzzled why they're still staying in. They definitely don't want to see this Giratina in the back. So we're kind of apply some pressure. We're trying to at least get a shield at this point. Let's see if we get it. We still don't get it. Our opponent knows their Shadow Swampert really well. This is potentially another Earthquake, but we survive it. So we're gonna let it go. Let's see what they have. Okay. So it ends up being the Charizard. This Charizard here is running the wing attack version. So you can see why they were so far, you can see why they really didn't know what to do with this Giratina. Here, we made a little mistake here. We ended up trying to CMP this Charizard for some reason. So they were able to win the CMP tie. We lost out on a bit of Dragon Claw chip damage here. And once again, I don't know, we just CMP tied here. I wasn't probably counting correctly, but this is another CMP tie, unfortunate for us. We're unfortunately missing out on a potential extra counter there if we just continue tapping. So we're already down chip damage from that Giratina with the Dragon Claw, and then we CMP tie again. Just the counts were off. The counts were way off. That's another potential counter that we didn't get through. So 3 counters right there, and it basically could make the difference right here. This Charizard is doing a really good job maintaining alignment, maintaining the game. Okay, so we have a slight chance here. Maybe if we avoid all the Moonblast debuffs here, and maybe we get a boost somehow. But yeah, one shield with the Cresselia with what we have in the back. We try to catch some kind of move there, whether it's Grass Knot or Moonblast, potential future sight, whatever. We thought they were going to throw Grass Knot because we were so low. But this Cresselia has so much energy that it's going to be able to get to multiple Moonblast because we don't have a shield. Yeah, they go for another Moonblast. So this is good. Oh, and we get the debuff. So yeah, this is big time GG's. Unfortunately, just bad timing on when we used our charge move. We kind of lost count of their energy. And this is GG's. Well played by my opponent. and the team ended up being Swampert, Cresselia, and what else? Oh man, I already forgot. So they stayed in with Charizard. So Swampert, Charizard, that's a very common core, and then Cresselia as their safe switch. So if you go back and think about it, now you know why they kind of decided to stay in with the Giratina, and it was the right move. So good job by my opponent on doing that, and getting all those CMP ties with the Charizard. Next, we have a horrible lead here. We're gonna have to switch out. What are we switching out to? The good old Giratina. Giratina is met with the Jellicent. So we're gonna. They now obviously know we're running Shadow Claw version Giratina. I'm not. Okay, and we end up shooting a bait right there, which is very unfortunate. Really good play by my opponent. We go for the Shadow Sneak. So we obviously reveal that we have a Shadow Sneak. But because we ended up shielding that first one, we don't have to worry about the second one, even if it's a Shadow Ball, because the Giratina has so much health. And it looks like they're gonna just kind of sacrifice this Jellicent. This Jellicent is 100% gonna be throwing a Shadow Ball here. I don't see why they wouldn't. Okay, and then we are able to farm it down. So we do win back switch, and then we had to use a shield though. So here we're gonna be throwing the Shadow Sneak. This Shadow Sneak does a good chunk of damage, like 40%. We are not going to be able to get to another Dragon Claw here. We're going to go in with the Obstagoon. It's a pretty good hard counter to it. They try to catch a move. Unfortunately, it did not happen. And here, they have two shields with the Virizion. This is not entirely over. This Virizion can know Stone Edge. This is potential Stone Edge. Okay. Look at that. Just nearly like 40-45% damage. All right, so we're going to try to go for the big move here because we think that they think we are going to bait because they do have two shields. Let's see if it's correct. No, unfortunately, they are shielding everything apparently. Okay, so here we have to shield here to even have a chance. And then this is just going to be a potential bait here, but we decided to go for it. We think that they don't think, we think we're going to go for two Shadow Balls, right? Oh, unfortunate right there. So two shield, Virizion in the back, beats the Trevenant. None of us were baiting at the end. This is going to be another Stone Edge that's going to KO. Oh, sorry, not Stone Edge, Sacred Sword, and then they're going to switch out into the Trevenant because that Trevenant had energy. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, and then we had a chance to switch out there, but unfortunately, we weren't able to do it fast enough. We actually were anticipating it, but they were able to do that quick switch. Well done by my opponent. This is going to be another Seed Bomb here. So the idea right now is to try to farm up as much energy as possible. Throw this Night Slash as late as possible. This Night Slash is going to do a good amount. Probably take out this Trevenant. Yep. And then we're going to go for this Cross Chop here. This Virizion is it's getting close to another Sacred Sword because they did invest one Sacred Sword. And we get to the Cross Chop. Double Cross Chop here at the end is going to be able to KO this Virizion. Even though it didn't look good for a backline right there, we end up getting that win right there. GG's to our opponent. That was a crazy end game right there. Let's see if we can finish this with an even better set here. That backline with that Obstagoon, we were just saving so much energy, farming up the maximum amount of energy for that Virizion in the back. And fortunately for us, we were able to get to two Cross Chops to KO that Virizion at a pretty low health. So it ended up being going for those Shadow Balls versus that the Virizion did pay off because it forced out the shields, but also those Shadow Claws from the Trevenant were doing a lot of damage to the Virizion. Very good lead here. We're thinking about what we're going to switch into. Okay, very weird switch in here. I love the spice. Unfortunately for us, our back two Pokemon isn't necessarily great against the Shadow Gyarados. In hindsight, maybe we should have thrown a Night Flash with our Obstagoon and then we switched out. This matchup here, we do get a shield because potentially we could have Ancient Power. But unfortunately for us, this Gyarados potentially can get a debuff with the Crun. And and we do actually get debuffs, so that changes the whole dynamic of this matchup now. We're going to be taking super effective Dragon Breath from this Shadow Gyarados. At this point, We're just trying to do as much damage as possible, but that completely is going to flip this matchup, I believe, because these Dragon Breaths are actually doing significant damage now. So they do 2 shields, and they farm us down. Kind of unfortunate, but that's how it is in Ultra League. Sometimes the debuffs, the potential debuffs and buffs, going to change up the matchups significantly. Here, we're going to have to tank a Aqua Tail. They're probably not going to come in with their Sand Slash, so we're anticipating a switch out here. Let's see what happens. Oh wow! Triple Shadow team. Shadow Machamp there is really bad for our backline. Okay, so we go for the extra fast move sneak in here, and we do 1 shield, and then 1 shield, and then we're gonna throw this Shadow Ball. We really need this to KO. Oh my! Ultra League Shadow Sand Slash, really good as far as tank. I'm surprised it was able to tank that. This is definitely an XL probably. So there goes the chance of winning, because this Obstagoon has no chance against this Shadow Machamp. I needed that Trevenant to KO the Alolan Sand Slash so that we can do chip damage towards this Machamp, but unfortunate that Ultra League Alolan Sand Slash had that much bulk. Kind of surprised by it. Check out this team, it's kind of funky, but let us know if you enjoyed it.